Just getting the stream set up here. Welcome back, or hello for the first time. I am playing through When the Night Comes by Lunaris Games. I am getting through, I hope getting through chapters 3 and, no, not, we already did chapters 3, chapters 5 and 6, sorry, got distracted by my phone. But yeah, I'm excited to dive back into the game. The first 2 parts covering the first 4 chapters and Lunar Festival are up either as a VOD on Twitch and on YouTube. I'm not quite sure how everything works yet, but yeah, I'm hoping to sort of figure everything out. But yeah, we will dive right back into the game. I'm very excited as the mystery is deepening and we are getting through it. And just as a note, we are doing the non-romance path that was chosen right at the end of last session. And yeah, we will be going through it. But I'm playing on Steam right now. The game is available both on Steam and itch.io. I highly recommend you check it out for yourself, especially if you want to romance some of these beautiful characters. And yeah, we will get right into the game. I am gonna set something up very quickly because I'm not quite sure how to get chat up without also bringing it up like on a separate device. So I will be getting that set up right now. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, I have a stream manager up on a separate device, and so I can watch in case anyone pops in the chat. Okay, now for real, we're diving into the game. Last we left off, everything's gonna be okay. That is the promise. Everything will be okay. We escaped the scary-ass monster in the woods with our lives. We booked it back to the wolf. Definitely freaked out. So yeah, we will see how everything goes. So strangely, I wake with a smile on my face. I feel so much lighter somehow. Though I can't shake the feeling of that thing staring me down and sizing me up. It's freaky. It's freaky shit. With 3 eyes and it's like, I think it has like multiple limbs. It's very scary looking. And I'm definitely not a horror person, which is which is interesting. That's actually what stopped me from playing this game for a while. It had been in my sphere. I had seen it on itch before, like way back in like 2019. But a huge reason I did not dive into it right away was because I was like, oh, I think I'm maybe too scared. I'm such a baby when it comes to horror stuff. I don't like it at all. I get spooked very easily. I've never been a horror person. So that's why it took me so long to get into the game. But once I did, it's incredible. And yeah, I've definitely gotten used to sort of all the beats in the story, so definitely doesn't freak me out. And it's not like, there's no jump scares or anything, which really I am not a fan of. You'll never catch me playing stuff like that. It's just more like general creepiness, but it's definitely something I can handle. Especially now that I'm very familiar with sort of the work of sort of the creators of this game. It's like, I trust you not to freak me out. Just like a little bit of creepiness, but not like totally freaky jump scares and stuff. Anyway, enough rambling. I think of all the creatures I've encountered in my time as a hunter, and I almost feel like there's something I'm missing. Is it a hybrid? A new species? We were always taught that it's unrealistic to believe that we've discovered every kind of creature that roams the earth, that the realms that separate us from them can tear. Every day new horrors are brought upon us. But every single one of my instincts is screaming and telling me that this is different, that it's not going to be simple. With great effort, I drag myself from the relative comfort of my bed and stare out over a surprisingly sunny Linares. I take a seat at my desk and decide to take a moment to observe the stolen notes that Ezra had kindly handed over. Okay, so we have his very cool, you see his little drawings there, which are very cool. I like the little moon here. Form ritual and crescent moon. See all the things there. His scribbled handwriting. I scan them, and it's jarring seeing a truly talented witch being so completely and utterly perplexed. I can practically feel his frustration rolling off the page. Live fire consumed everything. Muscles damaged beyond restoration. Magical fire can't reconstruct. NSA and skeletal flower doesn't work. Perhaps memory spell to recall the events of death. The ruined stone should suffice. No good. It's as if the body doesn't remember the soul's essence at all. The creature that feeds on life source? Perform ritual on crescent moon. Scrying's a far shot, but at this point I've exhausted my options with the corpse, and she deserves a burial by now. Use an extract from the flowers and a spell to ascertain that she was well terrified before her death, but nothing more. Can't even tell if it's death by burning or other injuries. Then, finally, the page is torn where he's pressed so hard with the quill. I'm stumped. The complete lack of an intact body would have certainly made his job hard, but a witch of Ezra's skill can cast many spells to determine the cause of death. But all he encountered was failed spell after failed spell. I set them aside. I have no time today to delve any deeper. Now, it's time to write my report for last night. This should be interesting. I checked a convenient place clock outside of August's office and take a deep breath. I love that they put up a little clock there to, like, make sure you're on time. Like, don't be fucking around. Make sure you get here on time. Also, it's very pretty. Headquarters. I love the marble. I love, like, the sunlight streaming in. Very, very pretty. As I raise my fist to knock, I hear a crash. I forego knocking, pushing the door open to rush inside and check that everything's okay. The monster's inside! I scan the room, seeing no August, but then I see a pair of feet sticking out behind the desk, and then I hear a string of muttered curses in a language I don't recognize. August? They pop up. Aw. Her little blush is very cute. It's very endearing. Also, look at those boots. Those are, yeah, wow. They go really high up. Boots are made for walking. That's just what they do. Their hair is a mess, and they have dark, dark bags under their eyes. Gray, is it 9 already? I nod, clocking that their clothes are wrinkled, which is odd. Very odd. Wait, did you sleep here? He let out a quick, sharp burst of laughter that seemed suspiciously nervous.
Did I fall asleep in my office? Don't be preposterous.
Love their laugh. I stare them down, unconvinced. August. They cover their mouth with their hand, coughing quietly.
Yep. Yes, I did.
Oh, sweetie. I had a lot on my mind. I'm not understanding, itching to tell them about my encounter, but almost not wanting to burden them with yet another thing. There was a little incident last night in the woods. An incident, you say? Come, sit. I take a deep breath and follow them to their desk. I believe I encountered the creature. The creature, as in the creature? Yes. Their pale skin gets lighter somehow, and they take a deep, shuddering breath.
Are you okay? And how are you okay, if so? Some of our best hunters have perished by its hand.
Well, about that. I settle in the comfortable chair opposite them. My mind is reeling as I think about how the hell I'm going to explain this. Firstly, don't think I'm crazy, okay? Okay. They don't seem convinced, but I continue regardless. James has been communicating with me somehow. It's like I can hear him, feel him, as if he's right beside me. Their expression remains neutral, that perfectly arched brow raised high. I assume that their silence means that they wish for me to continue. It's happened a few times, the most recent being last night. I'm pretty sure he's the reason I'm sitting here right now. He snapped me out whatever thrall the thing had me under. I processed what I've just said with an unreadable expression, and I wait with bated breath, unable to get a read on their aura. Or are they going to laugh in my face? Tell me that I'm insane? I see. Well, I'm glad he decided to help you, Gray. To think what might have become of you if he had not. I'd rather not imagine. I paused, my mouth agape. I'm perplexed. Not even a flinch? You seem rather calm. I expected... They raised their hands.
A lot of things that happen in our world are out of the ordinary, and we can't possibly explain every unusual occurrence.
I mean, you're a witch. Ezra's also a witch. There are vampires and demons and werewolves running amok, running amok around Lunaris. You know, yeah. I mean, ghost in the head. That's just a Tuesday night in Lunaris.
Ghosts are certainly not the strangest thing we deal with. There have been many recorded cases of people claiming they've been contacted by the dead.
If Hunter Lane has somehow managed to communicate with you, then so be it. We can question and attempt to understand it if you wish, but I consider that statement, deciding that yet another thing to add to the list would be a hindrance to us all. That won't be necessary. You felt fine during all of this. Nothing ails you when you experience this connection? I grimace and August notices.
You do well to tell me, Hunter.
I've been getting headaches, pretty intense ones. There's a lingering ache in my temple almost constantly. It flares up whenever he's near. They press their finger to their lips, looking at me thoughtfully. Then they rise from the chair, walking to stand over me, wiggling their fingers in my direction. May I? Yeah. Yeah. Do whatever you want. If you don't mind. I nod, trusting them to do what they have to do. Just close your eyes. It won't hurt. I oblige and feel a distinct crackle in the air, the smell of ozone thick in my nostrils. The hair on the back of my head and arms stands, and I dare peek my enforcer. Their eyes are closed too, their hands hovering carefully above my head and glowing a vibrant aquamarine. Closed. With a quiet grumble, I heed their instructions. A moment later, I hear them huff. You are fine. No damage detected. That's good. This is the regular brain damage. Just from dealing with all this shit. I open my eyes, watching them sit back against their desk. Thank you, August. I should imagine it's rather unnerving having that happen again, though. I do hope he's at least polite. Oh, well, mine's the headaches. He's not too bad. He was a fine hunter, and a valued friend of many, including myself. He's missed terribly. Even more of a reason for us to bring this thing to the ground. That's another thing I like. It's James is both very helpful, is instrumental plot-wise, but even just having him be inside the hunter's mind, it really kind of brings that connection between the two of them, and that makes sense because he's the last one to have died before the hunter is brought in there. And in a way, I feel like they really kind of replace Hunter Lane in that regard. And is this sort of like stable, steady figure in these people's lives, and someone who has that kind of unwavering kindness, based on sort of the routes that you do. But yeah, and especially, it is really interesting to have, especially when you romance August, you see sort of the direct parallel, like when Harry was talking about him and James and being this enforcer hunter duo. It very much mirrors with your relationship with August in that in their route. I silently ponder the implications if the enforcers are involved with this. To think what it would do to Harry if the very agency he runs ended up being responsible for his husband's death. A loud knock interrupts my train of thought, and August throws me a look. They suddenly seem uncharacteristically nervous. I tilt my head in question. It's time I make amends. Come in. Oh! The atmosphere immediately grows tense, both of them making a point to look at me and not each other. Oh god. We've been thrust into counseling. Have I been tricked into mediating? Yes, apparently that's exactly what this is. Listen, sometimes when you go to a small town, you gotta fix everyone's problems. Sometimes when you're the new person in town, you just gotta solve shit. You gotta solve murders. You gotta solve, disputes. You're an unbiased third party, and you gotta make your friends love each other again.
I hear you have something to say to me.
I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding, thanking the stars that Piper is choosing to break the ice somewhat civilly. August clears her throat, rubbing their forefinger and thumb together. Seeing them unnerved is alarming.
Yes, well, I wanted to apologize, formally.
And for the first time.
Yes, Piper, for the first time. If I could go back and change how I reacted, I would do it in a heartbeat. You didn't deserve any of this. And I'm sorry.
She looks angry, but also a little defeated. I imagine this isn't easy for her. It wouldn't be for me if I was in her shoes.
You really hurt me, August. It will take time for us to get back to where we were.
But Gray told me you really do wish to make amends and that you're on our side in all of this, so I accept your apology.
Take however long that you need. Whatever I can do to make it easier, I shall. To prove to you that I mean it.
Piper quirks a single brow, a smile creeping onto her lips. Well, I would...
I am not arm wrestling you ever again. I'd rather you drove a dagger through my heart, frankly.
That's a bit drastic. Anyway, shall we discuss this plan of yours, Hunter Enright? The plan. Right, the plan. General, you and Ezra will see to the wards while Piper and I meet Finn in the catacombs. He'll escort us to the hidden entrance to the dungeons and be our lookout. There, Piper and I will enter and gather as much intel as we can, for as long as you're able to stave off the protections. We'll then leave via the exit in the forest, where we'll meet Finn again, making a hasty escape before anyone catches wind. In theory. Yes, in theory. August purses her lips, taking in the provided information. I see. And you're satisfied with this? That it's achievable without any of us getting caught? Piper and I share a glance, and she nods. I am, yes. Regardless, I think it's necessary. We cannot proceed with our investigation without seeing what they're keeping down there. Or what they're not keeping down there. This could change the whole investigation, August. Very well. I trust you, both of you. I guess the next thing for us to do is to visit the witch, then. More reconciliation time! Piper tilts her head at them, her eyes wide, and August sighs deeply. Sorry, Ezra. Well done, you're getting there. Just try to do it without the attitude next time, yeah? I'll wait for you at the entrance to the Casimir end of the catacombs come nightfall. Be careful, Merriman. I know you're capable, but be on your guard. Piper offers them a small smile, and it seems genuine for the first time.
Always am, General.
I can't believe they call him the witch. You literally grew up with him, August. The shop is quiet, much like August, as they stand stoically by my side. I spare them a glance, watching how they smooth their fresh pressed clean outfit. Don't be nervous. Ezra doesn't bite. I mean, unless you're on his route. Don't get sassy with me. I laugh at their non-threatening tone, and Ezra appears from the back room. Oh, good morning. August stares, almost as if they're paralyzed, and Ezra subtly flicks his gaze to me, a singular eyebrow slowly rising in question. General, didn't you want to speak to Ezra? I contemplate my next move and decide to take my life in my hands, nudging August towards with a gentle hand. Rather than tearing my arm clean from my body, they simply throw me a glare and put themselves to rights as they come to stand in front of the young witch. Ezra, it's time I apologize to you. Oh? The shock on Ezra's face is evident, but he quickly recovers. Gus, you don't have... Yes, I do. I do. In the interest of not being here explaining all day, I'll keep it short.
I should have never left Argyria the way I did. Or at least without giving you an explanation. I owed you that, and I'm sorry I was too caught up in my own issues to bother.
And I certainly should have treated you the way I did towards the end of your time under my tuition, nor the time in which we've coexisted here. You know what Oberon and Lady Adalia were like. They always made comments about how you were surpassing me, about how disappointed they were.
That's because you taught me. I'm powerful because of you. I wouldn't be half the witch I am today if it wasn't for you. I continued my studies long after you left, all from your books.
So sweet. August looks like they don't quite know what to say. Color rises to their cheeks, and they quickly avert their gazes as Ezra
Your
continues.
skills remain unparalleled, and your parents were fools not to see that. I still look up to you and could still learn from you.
My healing is still something to be desired.
Well, you can't be good at everything.
They share a smile, and August looks like a different person. They stand a little taller, like a huge weight has been lifted. Making amends suits them. I accept your apology.
I should never have blamed you for the insecurities my parents planted in my head. I can't take back what happened, but we can move forward.
We can. We will. Where'd you guys grow up? What was it like growing up in... Oh God, I know they just said it. I know they just pronounced it. Argyria? I'm so sorry.
Incredibly boring, but enchanting nonetheless.
Perfectly summed up. There was nothing very special about it, but it was strangely charming.
Oh, isn't that everyone's hometown?
The only interesting thing to do there was to learn magic.
It's pretty
Witches would
interesting.
flock there to learn at the academy August's family ran. Some of the finest witches in all of Escria taught there, including Gus.
Imagining them as a teacher, it's like a cool professor. It's good. It's good. Ezra becomes wistful, a fond smile crossing his lips. August, less so. True to their nature, though, they roll their eyes at the compliment. I'm hardly one of the finest. Liar. I was honored to have you as my guide, no matter what you say. My family couldn't afford the tuition, but Gus saw something in me and took me under their wing anyway.
I fondly remember the look on your mother's face when you told her you would tutor me free of charge.
August grimaces, but their smile betrays them.
I do miss making Mother angry.
She was just annoyed that everyone could see that people are able to flourish outside of her precious academy. And what made you both move here? I mean, Piper said that the housing is pretty cheap, and in the current housing market, I will take on the fucking demons. The fucking ghouls and ghosts and demons for, like, cheap housing. Harry had visited my parents' academy in search of new recruits, strictly witches. I no longer saw a future for myself in Argyria. Yeah, we're going with that pronunciation. My parents had all but disowned me, and it felt good to be needed. The promise that I might do some good if I took up a position in the Enforcers was too perfect to pass up at that point in my life. Ezra clears his throat. Do you regret it? Leaving? A pause, but just a quick one, and August answers confidently. No, but I regret how I left. How I let my friend down. Everything happens for a reason, Gus. It's in the past. Also, I love that Ezra calls them Gus. It's very cute, and I think only he can get away with that. What about you, Ezra? Smile fades, softens. After my father passed, I felt a little useless at home. I worked tirelessly to raise money to buy my own shop. I just wanted to help people, like he always did in his own way. Magic was really the only way I knew how, and the Narsh just happened to be the first place where I might be able to afford to start fresh. Yeah, it's the fucking cheap housing, I'm telling you.
I'm so glad things worked out the way they did. Though things may not be perfect, I found family here.
I'm so glad you're able to resolve your issues. It's nice to see you both like this. Score one. Hunter generals are actually therapists. That's why they're so fucking valued. Thank you, Gray. I'm glad to. Now, shall we discuss the plan? The plan. I'm pretty well versed on the wars that they use. So with the both of us, I doubt they stand much of a chance. Ezra scoffs. Trust me, they don't. Piper and I will head into the catacombs to meet Finn, and I assume that he'll be able to tell us when the wards are down. Ezra doesn't hesitate to respond, his words confident. I can definitely ensure he knows. Our connection is very strong, specifically mine with his prosthetic. Yes, strong. Ezra blushes quite impressively and averts his gaze. Gus, please.
Oh, sorry. Did I make you uncomfortable? Like, say, me having to watch you fawn over Casimir nightly?
Point taken.
Very cute. Anyway, back to the plan. Please ignore the fact that that vampire sneaks into my house and bites my neck every night. Have you heard from Harry at all since the night of the last murder? He's been around, though he seems to be avoiding me. He's keeping to himself. I cannot label that as suspicious, though. The man did just lose his husband, but I'll keep an eye on his whereabouts. I don't think we won't have to worry about him looking for us, though. He's distracted. So we're good to go then? Yeehaw! Alright, they share a look and nod in unison. I'd better get going then. I need to get my armor and weapons from the wolf. Ezra hands August a crumpled piece of parchment, and they nod once, getting to work gathering whatever ingredients Ezra has written down.
I know you don't need me to tell you, but be safe. Let us know you're okay as soon as you can.
I will text you once I get home safe, I promise. I will.
Tread carefully. Don't let them catch you, I have faith in you.
Yes, General. Thank you. I head back to the wolf to prepare myself, now fully kitted in my armor, my weapons safe in their holster. I begin to slowly make my way towards the main entrance of the catacombs. The air is chilly and the sun is already low in the sky. We're past the solstice, that's starting to happen now, which I hate. I mean, I don't like the heat of summer, but I do like the long days. Like, I remember, like, whenever it was, like, March and April, where it was, like, it actually felt like a long... it was, like, kind of sunny at night. I was like, wow, I have so much energy. This feels great. So, I don't know. I think I'm hibernating all winter. We must wait until sunset to ensure Finn and the clan can safely assist. Yeah, don't burn up your vampires. But as each minute passes, my gut feels heavy with anticipation. I hope this works. I hope we don't get caught. More for Piper and August than myself. I have so many people relying on me. I absolutely cannot let them down. The flickering golden candlelight is almost comforting as I head deeper into the catacombs. I know I'm safe here now, that I'm aware that it's only Finn's clan that lingers, but there's something about being down here that has my guard up. Also, if you're doing the romance routes, there'll be different dialogue, obviously based off of some variations to these scenes. There are very cute moments with Finn here, where he can read your mind and you can tell him how much you missed him, even though it's been less than a day. It is just lovey-dovey honeymoon stage. And also very cute if you're either on Ezra's route or on Finn's route, because the poly route start at the end of this chapter, I believe. August and Ezra's dialogue is a little bit different when August is kind of teasing him for his crush on Finn. It's a cute little thing. I smile to myself, thinking that the scariest thing that might jump out at me here is probably be Raven. You know what? I think we can take her. She's very cute, and a little creepy, and that's perfect for a vampire. I turn the corner and find the place where Piper and I agree to meet. There's no sign of her, but then I am a little early. With a deep sigh, she's been taken. She got caught. She got caught by the monster. With a deep sigh, I lean against the wall, listening to the steady drip, drip, drip of water upon the stone. Then, hi, baby. Hey, handsome. I love that coat. I literally want that coat. It's gorgeous. I know we've seen this before, but it's so good. And of course, the trademark titties out. It's a little tattoo peeking out. Very hot. Finn appears before me as if out of thin air.
Good evening.
Good evening. Finn would be that vine. The one the guy slides down. Good evening. That's him. That's you. I greet him with a smile, pleased to have some company. Hello, Finn. Merriman late, or are you just a stickler for being on time? Both. Shrug, pushing away from the wall. The latter, I doubt Piper is ever late. The grin that crosses his face tells me otherwise. Oh, you'd be surprised. I could tell you some stories that involve too much rum and He stops, rolling his eyes. Maybe another time. Beep, beep, beep. Piper emerges from the shadows. I'm just going to do that every time a character shows up. Piper emerges from the shadows, her eyes carefully fixed upon Finn.
Stop telling stories, Casimir. Can't a lady be hungover once or twice in her lifetime?
Oh. Finn throws his head back and laughs heartily, clutching his stomach. Once or twice. Sure. Let's not get too deep into such unsavory tales, shall we? He quickly straightens up, his smile fading. The way his eyes widen tell me I definitely do want Piper to get into such unsavory tales. Alas, maybe a more appropriate time? Remind me to take you to the tavern for a drink, but we should really get a move on. Piper nudges Finn as she passes, winking at me as we fall into step, him trailing quietly behind
We'll
us.
save it for when the sun is out. Can't stop me then, can he?
As we head deeper into the tunnels, everything feels different. There's no longer that comforting golden glow, the jagged stonework now illuminated by a nervingly still, vibrant blue mage light. Piper's demeanor changes and I hear Finn pipe up behind
We're
us.
not in my territory anymore. Stay alert.
He then suddenly stops in front of us, bringing us to a halt. Wait, stop here. I can feel the barrier. It's close. So, what now? I stare at Finn's prosthetic, the etchings glowing, but still dull. We wait for Ezra's signal. We stand in silence, and Finn begins to shift where he stands. It seems unnatural for him to look so nervous. Casimir, if you don't stand still, he huffs, clearly frustrated. Fiero, you will look for him, won't you? Piper narrows her eyes, but her expression quickly softens when she looks at me. We'll look for him. We will.
Thank you. I know you may not be able to free him if he is there, but just tell him we'll get him out. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Then Finn's arm begins to thrum, the markings coming to life and illuminating the tunnel. He looks down at his glowing palm, flexing his fingers, and he smiles. It's go time.
Let's do this.
Be careful, both of you. And listen out for my signal from the forest exit. I'll alert you the second you need to get out.
See you on the other side. All right, breaking time. Let's go. We watch him leave, and he disappears into the darkness. Well, let's find out what those bastards are hiding, shall we? I sigh, wondering what we do if we find nothing, if this is all a dangerous waste of our time. If anything. Piper scoffs, nudging me in the ribs with her elbow. It's all right. If we come up short, we'll just go back knowing fuck all. That's kind of where we are right now. Comforting. Really, really comforting. Right. We're in the dungeons. Surprisingly, or maybe not, the entrance to the dungeons remains unguarded, and that unnervingly yet familiar blue mage light guides our way. I mean, they have the barriers up, so it's like, why would you need a permanent guard? You have a barrier. Piper eagerly rushes towards the first empty cell, eyeing the small, frail fey-like creature that's huddled in the corner. She picks up the clipboard that rests in a wooden holder beside the door. I remember you. Not one of my catches, but a good one. The Fae lifts her head, smiling, exposing a row of shining, razor-sharp teeth. She snickers, the sound of more of a hiss than a laugh. We move to the next, doing the same, checking the paperwork. A demon this time, its power subdued by the enchanted cuffs that anchor it to the wall. Piper scoffs, clearly unamused as we make our way down the row, finding no hunters, no Aya. Bullshit, she has to be down here somewhere. Eventually, after what feels like forever, we find a cell that piques Piper's interest. In the shrouded darkness, I see a single crimson eye staring back at us, and the figure cautiously approaches. Hey, what's up? He looks gaunt for a vampire. His clothes hanging off a slender frame, his cheeks drawn and cut far sharper than what the beauty of his immortality may have already afforded him. Piper surges forward, curling her fingers around the thick iron bars. Fiero, what have they done to you? Fiero. Piper, what are you doing here? His voice is deep. I try and fail to get a read on his aura. Oh, just taking a stroll. What do you bloody think? His bright gaze flicks to me, and he shakes his head, his blank expression unchanging. You'll get no reading from me, Hunter. Then I remember. He's an empath, skilled in both masking his own emotions and reading others. I wonder just how powerful he is. Finn and the clan have been looking for you. He blinks, his movements groggy. I don't doubt that. Please tell them not to try and break me out. I have no doubt that Finnegan will be dramatic when you tell him of my whereabouts. Of course he will. And he's allowed to be dramatic. You were taken. You're his bestie. Piper grabs his notes, tutting loudly as she scans the
Oh,
page.
Fiero. Unsanctioned feeding on an enforcer. Resisting arrest. You naughty boy.
You know that's not true. They appear to have set me up quite beautifully. Why you? What happened? His stillness is unnerving after being around vampires like Finn, vampires who do an excellent job at fooling you into thinking they're at least a little bit human. I sent someone in a great deal of distress in the forest. I didn't want to rally the whole clan for something that was likely insignificant, so I managed to convince Finnegan to allow me to investigate alone. I discovered a wounded enforcer near the outskirts of town. They'd been bitten, probably by a wandering youngling, by the look of the mess it had made of them. I tried to help, to assist them getting back into town, but I quickly realized that the enforcers had me surrounded. They apprehended me, and I've been here ever since. Piper growls, roughly shoving the clipboard back into its holder. What the fuck are they doing? Harry struck a deal with your clan long ago, and you don't cause any trouble. If anything, you do a better job keeping the town safe than most of the other hunters. Fiero blinks at her, his mouth twitching ever so slightly. No good deed goes unpunished, Piper. Okay. Are you hurt? I hate to think it, but I have to ask. Have they hurt you at all? They have not beaten me, nor have they tried to, and I'm not interested in being a troublesome prisoner. I feel a but coming. But they have been taking my blood. You fucking what? That seems pretty important. Leading with that would have been handy. His lip twitched as he might be considering smiling. He rolls up his sleeve, and his form is covered in angry bruises. I've never seen a vampire mark this easily unless they've been starving you. He covers his arm, nodding. Yes. Piper's gaze is fixed firmly upon the ground, her brow furrowed. She's restless and agitated. I am too. What could they possibly want your blood for? I wish I knew. None of this makes sense. Right, we will ask about the other prisoners. Have you seen any human beings brought down here? Specifically hunters. They keep the others far away from me, as you can see. He's right, there are at least 5 or 6 empty cells between him and the next occupied one. Though, I might have said something. I assumed at first it was my hunger dulling my senses, but... His brow furrows. I'm confused about what species they are. Their scent is unusual. That's not a good sign. Unusual how? It wasn't human, but it also wasn't something I'm familiar with either. No creature I've ever come across anyway. And I've lived long enough to know when something isn't right and something is new. Sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I look at Piper and she's doing everything she can to avoid eye contact. She's thinking about Aya. I can feel worry rolling off of her in waves. Piper.
I need to know if my friend is alive.
Fiero offers her a sorry look, the most animated he's been thus far. I suspect that he can feel her pain and her anger. I wish I could offer some clarity, but I cannot. All I know is your enforcers aren't the honorable agency that they claim to be. Something dangerous is afoot. The game is afoot. We're solving the mystery. We are actually Sherlock Holmes. She visibly the fates, her shoulders shagging and her bald fist relaxing. What are they doing? I've dedicated my life to these people, so have you. I nod, a lump in my throat. I feel sick, everything inside me screaming, telling me this is all wrong. If Aya had been here, there'll be a trace. There has to be. You're right, we should keep looking. I clutch the bars, getting close to Fiero. I can't set him free right now. Not when we don't know how much time we have, but I won't leave him here to wither and die. We'll get you out of here, soon. Somehow, I don't doubt that, Hunter. Piper tugs my sleeve. We may not have much time. Fiero quietly sinks back in the darkness of the cell, and I watch him settle upon the ground. It pains me to leave him, but I know he'll be okay. He can survive, Levi. He survived, Levi. He can survive this. We find the warden's desk and rifle through the drawers with haste, and Piper gasps as she sets her sights on a bundle of prisoner manifestos, the type that should be outside the cells. These are incomplete. Why are they tucked away in here? She reads them quickly, her eyes frantic as she scans the messy handwriting. I can see her resisting the urge to crumple the parchment. She hands it to me and turns away, her hands in her hair. All of the other occupied cells have their paperwork neatly displayed outside. Listed is their species, arrest date, offense, an abundance of useless little details to keep the enforcers busy. But these two apparently hidden seats that Piper had given me are different. General Aya Walker and General Azazel Ripley. I think I'm saying that right. Who is this Azazel? Piper turns to face me. The hunter that Alcor fought with. Oh, shit. And he's in a cell. They arrested him for getting attacked? I hate to say it for what feels like the trillionth time, but what the fuck? They checked Aya out of her cell last night. Him too. Fuck. But look. She points at the time scribbled next to their names, and there's only a check out. They haven't come back. It's been over 24 hours. They haven't come back. Then a loud banging echoes from down the hallway, and Piper quickly snatches the manifests back from my hands, shoving them into her shirt. Let's go. We move as fast as we can while still staying cautious. Finn had signaled us for a reason, be it an enforcer guard approaching or the wards being recast. Either way, we need to get out of here. We hear muffled voices drawing near and quickly flatten ourselves against a wall, but we're not hidden. The forest exit is in sight, our escape. Piper turns to look at me.
It's your call, General.
We're fucking running. We're going. I see no other option. Time is ticking and we can't stand around and pray we don't get caught. We run for it, on my signal. Piper nods, staying focused on me. I close my eyes, shutting everything else out around me. I can hear them. Two people seemingly not aware of our presence. Yet. Casual conversation, footsteps drawing near, but from the dungeon entrance, far away from us. I open my eyes and hold up my hand, signaling to advance. We run, pushing open the heavy door with ease. Cool, crisp air hits my face, and I spot a tall figure waiting for us.
You made it.
I made it. He ushers us away from the door, pushing it closed as quietly as he can. Follow me. He leads us just a short distance away and into a small clearing where we can still see the surprisingly well-hidden dungeon exit. What did you find? Enough to tell us who we truly cannot trust. Finn's mouth is set in a thin line and he nods, taking the hint not to pry further just yet. There are guards approaching, a routine perimeter search. You should head out.
We should split up, just to be safe. I'll head home and get these hidden.
She pats her pockets where the manifests are safely tucked away. Just what I've always wanted, being left alone in these fucking woods again. The clan are scattered around the forest. If you see the creature, don't engage. Not after what happened to Gray. Piper nods, her face grim. Later. I turn to Finn quickly, needing to tell him about his friend. Fiero's in there. He's alive. Well, ish. He's alive. I smile at his obvious glee. We found Fiero. We found evidence. We got in and out without getting detected. Tonight was not wasted, and neither was it a complete disaster.
Thank you. I owe you a debt of gratitude.
Sorry, quick water break. He helped us too. He had information and we found something that might actually help us make waves. Then, before he can respond, he freezes up. Eyes wide, fist clenched, and he looks at me with a stern gaze. You need to go. Now. They're close. I'll distract them if need be. You being caught out here after papers going missing in there is not something we want them to put together. Head south. A friend is waiting for you. Didn't you think we'd leave you out here all alone again, did you? Friend? Just go. The tone of his voice tells me I don't have time to question him. He's right, too. I shouldn't be seen here, no matter how innocent it might look on the surface. I head south as instructed, hearing a rustling in the tree line. Hi. Hey. I stop dead in my tracks at the sight of him, puffing. Hey, yourself. So, you're the friend then? I'm the friend, whatever that means. Come on, follow me. Keep up. Alcor keeps glancing over his shoulder at me as we move deeper in the forest, following a trail in the dirt so faint I can barely detect it. I almost want to tell him he needn't be so worried about me disappearing in a puff of smoke, but the weighty grim silence and what I've just learned kills the calm in my chest. It takes some time for me to realize, but boulder in the wood Alcar eventually stops at has the outline of an opening to it. With a smirk thrown over his shoulder at me, he bends and presses his palm to the dirt. So this is where you've been hiding all this time? Yeah, this is pretty new. But Omen started hanging around more. Sometimes he wanted to stay with me, wanting to give Ezra space, so I watched his shoulders rise and fall in a sharp, short shrug. Can't leave him out in the cold, even if he doesn't feel it. Speaking of, he's down here with me. With the final grunt, Alcar slides back what seems to be a patch of the grass and dirt. The entrance is impressively convincing. It reveals a narrow stone staircase leading down under the earth. It's very it feels like something out of Skyrim, right? Where it's move, the rock starts moving. I come to stand next to him, peering into the abyss. Not that it is dark down there. I can see the dim glow of a fire, and I can tell it's warmer down there than up here.
Ezra's a miracle worker, huh? And Finn. You won't believe what a clan of vampires and a witch with a desire to nurture you at any given opportunity can do once they put their minds to it.
Sweet. With a smirk, he beckons me to go on ahead. I oblige and hear him slide the hatch door close above our heads. It's not a very long descent, some 10, 12 steps at most. Look how cute it is in here. The coziest cave anyone could ask for, but it's adorable. I find myself standing in a circular, brightly but gently lit space, its stone walls partially hidden by curtains strewn around the place, softening the impression that it's, a cave. The string of lights are clearly Ezra's idea. There are cushions and chairs on all sides of the room, though, and I have to wonder if Alcar broke into Piper's house to take some decor notes from her. He did. I resolve to ask him later, as a familiar figure curled up and fuming on one of the couches draws my attention immediately. Gray. Omen hops to his feet, dusting his hands on his trousers. His movement sends a flutter of empty candy wrappers onto the floor, causing him to flush bright red, turn, and try to pick them up. Alcar snorts as he comes to sit down next to Omen. Well, next to where Omen just vacated. He waves a careless hand. Worry about them later, or maybe do that burn trick, right? Oh, Omen gives me a nervous look. Then his face relaxes and he smiles. The wrappers catch fire with barely a flicker of his power and burn to nothing. It's the first display of his power Omen has shown to me, and he sits back down and picks up a cushion to hug. I think he's more relaxed than he's ever been. Alcar gives him a pat on the back and grins, gesturing towards me. See? That's alright. Yes, of course. Omen turns and regards me for a moment. Then he smiles. Shy, but soft and relieved. I find myself feeling the same, whether or not I can move my facial muscles to mirror his. Glad to see you here. I was getting worried. I can see the surprise on his face before he laughs it away, covering his mouth with the back of one hand.
I appreciate your concern, but given everything, maybe I should be the one worrying. I was, actually, but...
Omen glances to the side, sheepish. Behind him, Alcar is mouthing something. Spat with his sister. Oh, I know along... No. Going on too fast. Not sure exactly what to say. Omen hasn't been the one to volunteer much information on himself and his sister beyond the big reveal. And at this point, I'm not sure it would be more or less awkward to ask. After all, I'm fairly sure that they're not in any sense responsible for things going to responsible for things going to shit around here. Not with what I know now. Fairly sure.
Figured he should be staying out of sight when he can burst into flames at any moment.
Omen whips around and faces him, and I can hear the fluster in his voice. I was not. Alcar shrugs lazily, shooting me a shit-eating grin as though he's trying to rope me into the teasing. If it counts as teasing, I see the tail of Omen's hair already gaining a cherry red wisp-like quality. Don't worry, you look cute when you're on fire. Yeah, that's normal way of flirting with someone. Omen groans, burying his face into his hands. I stifle a laugh despite myself and come to sit down next to Alcar on the couch. Omen gives me a sharp look like I've done him a small betrayal, but joins Alcar on the other side. He picks up a cushion and holds it close to his chest. We sit in silence for a long minute, and it's the most peace I've had in a very long time, especially since coming to Linares. These two don't know much of anything, I realize. Well, perhaps not much more than me, even though Alcar clearly has been snooping around and Omen definitely carries his own bag of secrets. But at this moment, in relation to all of this, perhaps we're the same. There's some comfort in that, to not be the only one in the dark. Pass me the jar. I can see Omen startle out of the corner of my eye. When I glance his way, it's catch the flash of guilt on his face, and then he bends over to retrieve something. He serves it back up with a mostly empty jar of wrapped candies.
Omen! Ezra's gonna fucking kill me, buddy!
I'm sorry. You said help yourself.
Oh. Uncle reaches for the jar, but Omen holds it away from him. He simply does not want you to take away his candy. You know what? That's okay. He's a sweet boy, literally. Show me your tongue, Omen. Omen's eyes widen, and oh yeah, because he can't eat chocolate because he's a demon and there's salt in it, so he can't. It's an extremely adorable trait for a demon. Omen's eyes widen. Alker leans back away from us with a not so subtle snicker. I glare at him, which he shrugs off with a roll of his eyes, and we look at Omen expectantly. The son of Satan takes a sharp breath and sticks his tongue out at me, just enough to mock. I think you should take your allergies seriously.
Well, I think demons ought to be allowed to take their indulgences seriously.
Elker laughs then, open and full of mirth, and not like any sound I've ever quite heard from him before. He ruffles Omen's hair and gives his long ear a slight tweak. That's how you show him attitude, yeah? See, you're learning. From the best, I gather? Omen blinks and laughs too, an awkward chuckle that he tries to stifle behind one hand. Elker's wolf ears relax, and I see his face soften to something very bright and very fond. You two are outrageously cute. It's almost comical how quickly they separate. Omen almost hops off the edge of the couch with the speed of his retreat. His face and hair turn bright red. While he sputters something incoherent, Alker leans away from me like I've just insulted his entire family. Interesting. Never say that again. I can't help but grin at how empathetically he says it. Can't help know a little bit of truth, can you?
No. We're friends. Friendship.
No homo, bro. He nods vigorously, mostly to himself, I think, and clutches the cushion closer to his chest, his eyes looking everywhere but at me. Alker's head whips around at the speed of light, his wolf ears flattening into his soft hair. Whatever expression is on his face that I can't see makes Omen pause. He stares back, jaw slack. I'm not even going to attempt. Demon language. And then he covers his face with the pillow to muffle the rest of whatever that was. Alker turns back to him, expression grim. Now look what you've done. He's fucking steaming. Omen smacks Alker's knee hard, at which point to the side, and the two of them ought to be grateful for my graciousness that it's perhaps safe and time to leave. My jump here is done. Goodbye. Chuckling, I rise from the couch and take a step away, putting some good, much-needed distance between the pair and the mess they're quickly falling apart in. Alright, you two win. Alker gives me a narrowed-eyed look. Interesting enough, I see his fluffy tail curl around Omen almost protectively, and Omen's own tail wrap around the fur, twisting, and coincidence? I don't think so. They're holding tails. It's adorable. But saying so might get a half lichen at my throat. At least I gather as much from the way Alker's shoulders are tense, so I keep my mouth shut. Likely he would do me no harm, but even so. Besides, staying right here affords me the best view of this mess. I cross my arms, fighting the amusement down. Of all the revelations in town, this is the most welcome one yet. I'd better head out then.
Shame, but stay safe and all that. Not that you need that Chad, big and strong as you are.
Good night. Alker glowers at me, but I distinctly hear no further protest from him. Funny too. I head straight to the shop when I leave the forest without incident, remembering my promise to Ezra and August that I'd let them know I was safe. I push the door open and spot Ezra and Finn in a somewhat heated debate. God. We're in couples counseling all over town. They both straighten up as they see me. Finn apparently too distracted to anticipate my arrival. His eyes are wide for a moment before he settles back into that implacable stillness.
Oh, you're back. We were getting worried.
He steps towards me, leaving Finn where he's apparently stuck in place. Finn said you found Firo? I'm so relieved. Yes, Firo's alive. We should get him out there as soon as we can. They aren't exactly treating him with kindness. I look at Finn, anticipating an outburst. It'd be justified. They've been taking his blood and starving him. What for? What could they possibly need with his blood? I see a hint of black flicker in the whites of his eyes, the first time I've witnessed his poised facade wavering, a glimpse of the creature that lingers within him. Ezra reaches out and lays a hand upon his arm, a warning. It works, calming whatever threatens to surface. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. We'll get him back. You know we will. Finn pulls his arm away, the movement a little too quick to be anything other than agitated. There's a clear and unusual tension between them tonight, something I can't quite place. I seem to be collecting secrets quite efficiently lately, so it can't hurt to try and pry another and maybe help diffuse whatever this is. Are you two okay? Finn almost looks straight through me, but Ezra's eyes widen, but he recovers quickly, his smile strangely earnest. What do you mean? I don't mean to interfere, but you both seem so tense. Is something wrong?
We just had a little disagreement. It happens, especially with all of this going on.
Suspicious. Ezra's gaze snaps to Finn. Eye contact fixing and holding before Finn exhales sharply, apparently willing to be a little more open than the witch.
With everything that has happened, I made the decision that I would be more mindful and keep my distance from Ezra. Him being seen with me made the enforcers make his life a living hell, which he will vigorously deny.
Ezra opens his mouth to protest, but Finn pointedly continues. He softens then, a fond look in his eye as his gaze flickers between us. You cannot live your life with them breathing down your neck. I know what they do to people who they feel threatened by, or who they like to use as a scapegoat. Look at Fiyero. You hold knowledge from working with them, they're afraid of you.
I refuse to stand by and let those I care about get hurt. I've had enough, and if staying away helps them get off your back, helps protect you, then so be it.
Okay, you can say we're stronger together or stop being stubborn. We're stronger together. Listen, we gotta stick together. Power friendship is gonna save the day. I see a flaw in his logic, however thoughtful his explanation might be. Don't you think we're stronger together? That we're all stronger together? I know he means well, but from being in Lunaris and being around this weird and wonderful little family I've joined, I've come to see that strength really is better in numbers. Using logic, I roll my eyes, hoping he sees my point. I understand where you're coming from with this, but in such a situation, don't you think it's better to take risks? Being away from those you care about truly only does more harm than good. Your presence gives them strength, and you face the consequences together. Finn, you're expecting to be everywhere and nowhere at once, and we're all taking risks here. Exactly. Please tell me you at least see how much better we are with you around as part of this unit. He looks to the side, a brighter smile forming before he returns his gaze to us. I've lived a long time. I may just be a little overly cautious, but yes, I see. They share another look, something private, and the way Ezra's cheeks darken under his golden gaze doesn't go unnoticed. There's history here, something precious and fully formed. They both seem so lost, much like all the other wandering souls in this town. Maybe they just need a push. Of course we're gonna get them back together. Of course we are. You seem to care about one another a great deal. I hope I've helped, even a little. Ezra bites his lip, fiddling with his sleeve, casting Finn a lingering glance. The vampire hasn't taken his eyes off him, not once.
Well, I'm used to having so much company, being surrounded by those that I love. So going from that to whatever this is has been hard.
I do care about you immensely. He continues to look at Ezra, his fingers twitching at his side. I can't bear the thought of you paying dire consequences for being seen with me, but the thought of stepping back and letting it happen sickens me more. Silence hangs between them, between all of us, and yet they still look at each other like that. You should talk. Without me here. I mean, that would be nice. I groan, checking I have all of my weapons upon my person before I make a keen beeline for the door. You two, you look good together. You are good together, clearly. You're trying to play matchmaker, Gray. Ezra scoffs, lashes dipping. It's working. Aww. Annoyingly and embarrassingly, I feel a yawn brewing, unable to stifle it. My fatigue suddenly catches up to me, and I find 2 pairs of wide eyes staring at me. Tired, are you? Okay, really going now. Do you need someone to walk you home? I shake my head, just wanting my bed and fast. That won't be necessary, but thanks for the offer. Now, you need to talk. I head for the back door, turning to offer them both a smile before I leave. Thank you for tonight, both of you. Good night, Gray. Get home safe. I take my time in heading back to the Wolf, grateful for the fresh air, letting it clear my head. Tonight was successful, and though it might not seem like we came away with much, what we found is implicating enough. Without a doubt, the enforcers are up to no good, and now we have proof. We still need to find Aya and Azazel, but at least we know they're still alive. Or they were last night. The Wolf is full to the brim with patrons tonight, and they pay me little mind when I enter. I push my way through the densely packed crowd, contemplating whether I should get a drink, but quickly deciding against it. I head straight for the staircase for my room. I shut the door behind me and immediately begin to shed my armor, letting it fall to the floor as I go. I'll tidy in the morning, but my bed is calling to me. I sit on the stiff mattress, going over the night's events in my head, trying to put together all of the pieces of the slowly unfolding puzzle. I hear footsteps, loud and unsteady. Something in my gut tells me this isn't your usual drunk patron stumbling to their room. I reach for my weapon, and then... Hey, Aurora. Looking good. It slams open. There stands a bloodied, beaten Aurora, a disheveled shell of the calm and collected woman I met just a week ago. I quickly stand, holding up my hand, ready to catch her if she falls. Aurora, what are you doing here? She leans against the doorframe, leaving a bloody handprint upon the wood. With a deep, ragged breath. Hunter Enright, I think I might require your assistance. Damn, fuck. Alright, we're gonna save. We're not ending, but we're just, quick save. There we go. Chapter 6, baby! Now we're in. Hunter Enright, I think I might require your assistance. After announcing that, Aurora falters and I rush to her side, her legs shaking as she leans her weight against the doorframe. I've got you. I carefully take her by the arm, guiding her over to the bed. Go. Covered in blood. She gratefully settles upon the mattress, taking a deep breath before she steals me with that icy gaze. Thank you, and I'm sorry for my dramatic entrance. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be polite. She looks a sorry state, and I find it hard to feel anything but sympathetic. Even when I think back to our less than pleasant previous encounter. It's no problem. I'm here to help. Can you tell me what happened? She clears her throat, averting her gaze. Her usual bravado isn't here, and something about that is startling. I encountered a little trouble on my evening walk. Clearly. It was far friendlier the last time I encountered it. I'm not sure why it was different this time. I pause, processing what she just said, the implications of that sentence. Last time? And what exactly you're talking about when you say it? The creature. The one's been doing a grand job of giving you hunters something to do for once. I unconsciously clench my fist in my side, my jaw tight. Her statement is so casual, so biting. Is there a problem? I should arrest you, You're in contempt of the agency for not reporting this. Then what's stopping you? I take a deep breath to calm myself and regain the lucidity I'll need to endure whatever news she has for me. We shouldn't do this here. It's too public, and you've already walked through a tavern full of people. I came to you because I know what your enforcers do to people with valuable information. By the look in your eye, I've gathered you've cottoned on too. Pointedly ignoring her, I gesture for her to stand. Come on, we'll go to August. She stands, her movements still a bit unsteady as she does. Willenheim too? Well, I've never thought I'd see the day they'd turn against their precious herald. Have you tried not talking so much? After an apparently successful exercise in distraction back at the Wolf, I rush Aurora across town to August's rather impressive abode without further incident. I stand in the doorway and stare at her with a crinkled nose. I'd say that it's nice to see you, but can we come in? I meet their gaze, trying to convey the urgency.
Just don't get blood on the sofa. Please.
Yes, General. Noted. I take in my surroundings, and this home couldn't possibly be owned by anyone other than Augustus Willenheim. It's beautiful, August. Thank you. It's nice having my own little sanctuary, though I don't spend as much time here as I would like. I tentatively take a seat beside them, both of us glaring at Aurora across the expensive coffee table. Aurora clears her throat, her eyebrows climbing high as she stares at us from across the room. Can we start? I'd like to go home if we get this over with quickly.
Explain exactly what you've been up to, Miss Woodridge. In detail.
She crosses her legs, smoothing the rumpled, dirty fabric of her skirt. August watches, appreciative of her attempt to collect herself, but perceptive that none of her filth makes in contact with her home. No more than a must, at least. Firstly, in the interest of protecting myself, I want you to assure me that what I say here won't be used against me. From what I gather, you're working against the enforcers, so I suppose you do well to agree to this condition? August looks at me for confirmation, and I shrug, knowing she's right. We can't afford for her to go to them at this point. Go to anyone but us. It stays between us. Good. Now, I understand you're aware that the level of creature activity has increased here in Lunaris as of late, Enforcer Willenheim. August nods. Yes, but Harry has done an excellent job in putting systems in place to ensure that we're on top of it. The number of fatalities has significantly dropped in the last year, if that's what you're getting at. Aurora hums, contemplating their statement with a tilt of her head. Lunaris had the lowest mortality rate of any town in the whole of Estria until very recently. Did you know that? They shift uncomfortably in their seats, avoiding eye contact with both of us. She's playing the game, almost mocking August's obvious intelligence, I presume. Of course, I was aware of that, yes. Don't you think that's awfully strange? That all of a sudden one of the most peaceful areas would turn into the epicenter of creature activity? That one day they began descending upon us in droves, stronger and faster than before? Did no one in your agency investigate a potential cause? I look at them again, assessing their reaction. My interest is considerably piqued. Lunaris was never on my radar before I was called here. I only knew of its existence because of Harry and James' notoriety, so I certainly didn't know this. Estria is made up of cities and towns far larger than Lunaris, so for Aurora to claim that this sleepy little place is the hotspot for creature activity is beyond alarming. August? Listen, it's never the cities though. It's always the small towns that are fucking creepy. With a deep breath, August responds.
I'm aware that there was an investigation, but that nothing was found. We chalked it up to the simple fact that we aren't doing a good enough job of eliminating the creatures as a country. That they are multiplying at a rate far quicker than we and everyone else can effectively handle.
Another quiet hum. I gather that she's simply testing them. Aurora knows a lot more than she's letting on, clearly, and it brings back a touch of her knowing resolve. So why, in the last year, has it magically gotten better? Until these recent murders began, Lunaris was relatively peaceful again, wouldn't you say? Not as peaceful as before, but an improvement was seen, yes. I'm no wiser than you, really, Enforcer, but I do know that the thing committing these murders is no ordinary creature. And you know that the method in which your previous leader has used to fix the problem is an unsavory one. Your precious leader, not previous leader, has used to fix the problem is an unsavory one. But something isn't right here in Lunaris. Something is drawing them here, and whatever that thing is, it's making them stronger. Okay, well, Walter, how do you know all this? How do you know all this? I look at Aurora, taking note of her confidence and her poise. It's impressive, but I can't help but wondering how the hell she knows all this information that she's just unloaded on us. You know an awful lot about the Enforcers, even more than us, apparently. How? Start talking. She shrugs, nonchalant, not quite getting the gravity of the situation, I feel. People talk.
To the twins that alienate everyone by telling them they deserve to get gobbled up by monsters for daring to be afraid. Sounds unlikely.
Believe it or not, there are people in this sad little town that are more afraid of the Enforcers and your hunter pets than they are of the monsters. They see you talking to the things that lurk in the catacombs, the vampires, the lichen, the demon. They may smile and seem friendly, but they are just as much of an untamed creature as the one that lurk in the woods that you don't allow to drink in the tavern or sleep in your beds. Oof. Which, you know what, hits a lot harder if you're on Finn, Alcar, or Omen's route. Tell us what happened last night. How did you find the creature? Aurora daintily claps her hands in her lap, taking her time to respond. I often check the graveyard and the forest around the Ibeck before I sleep. I like to know there's no creatures out there that might need my help. You have Lux for that. Does she not do her job sufficiently enough? Lux is an incredible guard, but she does not care for the creatures in the way I do. She simply serves to protect us, not them. I mean, she cares for one creature a lot. Why do you require a night guard exactly? Before Rourke can speak, August pipes
Because
up.
we were fed up of them calling in problems and using up our limited resources. The only real issues they ever had was some angry townsfolk with a kitchen knife.
Still scary. If you haven't already noticed, the Ibeck isn't exactly popular around here. So, we assigned Lux as an unofficial guard to keep watch. And also, probably definitely keep an eye on the twins. Anyway, as I was saying, I did my usually nightly check, and I heard something in distress in the forest. I found a creature. The creature. Ghastly looking thing, but it was crying. Crying? August lets out a tiny burst of laughter, quickly covering their mouth once the sound has escaped. I can't explain, but that's what it sounded like. Hunched over against a tree trunk, clutching the bark, just wailing. I approached it, simply ignored me, and retreated into the forest. But she holds out her arm, the gash is deep and angry. As you can see, it wasn't so uninterested in me this time. It attacked me, pinned me to the ground. I only escaped because it heard something and scurried off. Shit. I look at August, and they're pinching the bridge of their nose, their eyes closed. I watch as August rises and walks to stand in front of the fire. Aurora hasn't taken her eyes off me. Her expression inscrutable. You need to see a healer. She shrugs, uncaring, sparing her bleeding arm a fleeting glance. Like I said, it's just a scratch. It's merely a flesh wound. They're right.
You don't know what the hell that thing is. And you're already unsettling enough without suddenly sprouting horns.
She'd probably like that. You should seek out Ezra. At least we'll know he'll be discreet. She stands and quickly heads for the door as if the moment to leave this place couldn't have come sooner. Before she reaches for the handle. Wait. Yes?
Don't forget this kindness we've shown you here tonight. We could have thrown you in the dungeons for what you've been withholding, but I'd rather not see someone else disappear. Though our beliefs may differ, we are here to protect you.
I stand to join them, a show of solidarity in that promise. Aurora may not believe their words, but their purpose has and always has been to protect everyone. Stay out of the woods, Aurora. Creatures like this are not something you play house with. Make no mistake, this is something even you cannot feel sympathy for. It's killed mindlessly and unprompted. She smiles, and for the first time it seems a little genuine, if not a little reserved. I'll come straight to you if I see it again, and thank you. I'm sorry that I brought her here. You did the right thing, do not apologize. They take a seat, sinking deep into the cushion with a grateful groan. Is it bad they remain unfazed by such conversations? Not knowing a bloody thing has become the norm, apparently.
This town is infested with secrets. I can't wait until all of this is over. If it ever will be.
How am I supposed to do my job and protect these people when I'm left so in the dark? You care enough to keep trying, and that's all that matters. The people in ours are lucky to have you, August. Thank you, Gray. I'll be mourning soon. With a heavy sigh, August curls her legs up beneath them. It's another night of no rest. What's new in this town, I suppose I better try and get an hour or two of sleep. I'll head back to the wolf and attempt to do the same. We'll reconvene tomorrow. Sleep well, Hunter. I wake barely refreshed, but with an inkling. Gut feeling or something. The Ibeck is more desolate than I remember. Doors fall open easily enough, even though there isn't anyone there to greet me, and the chapel within only has pockets of sunlight where it streams through the cracked windows. The rest is drowned in shadows, but shadows that I know are safe, I guess. My instincts warn me of nothing else than the two bright presents perched atop the dais at the far end of the room. And as if they're here, I feel like I don't need to worry about my own safety. As they're here, I feel like I don't need to worry about my own safety. God, maybe I should, for deciding to start streaming into games, you think I'd, be better at reading out words. Strange that I feel that way about two demonic entities of the highest class, me a hunter, alone in this abandoned temple like the plot of some corny horror novel. Elaine and Owen's conversation peters out as I close the door behind me and approach them. The way they tilt their heads in perfect synchronization reminds me eerily of the Woodridge twins, but their expressions are quick to change into big, similar grins. Gray, I didn't expect to see you here. He slides off the dais and comes down to meet me. I climb my head at him in greeting, but my eyes are on the still-seated Elaine. She stares back at me and smiles, bright and soft, and raises her delicate hand in a small wave. It's good to see you too, Elaine. Elaine beams at that, clapping her hands together. Oh, it's good to see you too. I'm sorry that the last time we met things were so messy. With a small oof, Elaine pushed herself off the guys and approached me as well, and my second, I suppose, impression for her is she's far cheerier and much less cautious than Omen. There's a spring to her step, even as she strides, eating up the distance between us with wide, confident steps. She stretches a curtsy for me, and when I try to return it with a bow, she giggles. Thank you. I was hoping I would see you again. We both were. I heard something happened with Aurora. Yes, Amaros looks so worried. She picks anxiously at the cuff of her sleeve as she mentions him. My eyes are drawn to the movement, as are Omen's. And is that my imagination, or is a tiny crease between his brow? Does he not like Amaros? Listen, he's protecting his sister from the weird-ass human. Before things can get awkward, however, I clear my throat. An idea strikes me. I have a question, actually, for both of you. Identical brown eyes blink at me. They really are twins, even if not human ones. When we were speaking to Aurora last night, she mentioned something. It seems like in the last 2 years, supernatural activity has been at an all-time high in Linares. August figured only because the volume of creatures was increasing faster than the Enforcers and our hunters could control them, but we have our doubts. And I know instantly I was correct to doubt, as the air around us seems to shift and change. Omen sucks in a deep breath, his hand going to clutch at the back of his neck, eyes averted. Elaine purses her lips and clasps her hand in front of her, but she keeps her gaze on me. For a moment, she's no longer a soft-eyed young woman with large teeth and a pretty smile. For a fraction of that moment, I perceive her as the thing behind those human details. Something old and seething and immense gazes at me through those eyes. The pressure nearly crushes my lungs with the force of her presence. Then it dissipates, so fast I could be convinced I was imagining it. And it's because Omen's hand is on her shoulder. No, it's fine. Gray isn't trying to. He trails off. Elaine pats his head, his hand. She pats his head, but slides it off and turns to face me fully. The smile is back, if just a little sharper than before, and she raises a hand. I love Elaine. She's such an interesting character because she's like this very like sweet, bright demon girl who is utterly fucking terrifying, and even more terrifying when you're on Omen's route. She like locks you into a deal, makes a pact with you. I almost flinched, but all she does is point at my weapon. Can you please remove your hand from that? That's a lot to ask of me after that little display. Elaine inclines her head. You have a point, I suppose, but all the same, it will do you no good here. I will kill you in an instant. Terrifying. She's right. Galling that she would point it out so matter-of-factly, but even as I reluctantly tear my fingers from my weapon, the answer I was seeking strikes me. It was you, wasn't it? You're the reason for the increase in paranormal activity around Linares. It isn't her fault, but mine. Omen is still rubbing at the back of his neck, as though worrying an old scar. When he meets my gaze, his aura is dimmed, sad. Omen?
Some mortal years ago, I had an argument with my father.
He pauses, mouth moving without sound. Elaine shifts on her feet where I watch her from the corner of my eye, but she doesn't move. Her presence is once again extinguished and kept tightly under control.
It ended in my departure to your realm. He was unhappy with me leaving and tried to prevent me crossing over. I had to go into hiding, and in the journey between, it's possible I might have damaged the boundaries between our worlds.
Oh. And your father isn't planning on making a trip across to get you back, is he? The thought leaves me as cold as much it makes you want to stare at the ceiling and wonder out loud what exactly this town has done that has caused so many fucking problems to be attracted to it like flies to a bloated corpse. That would just be the thing we needed, wouldn't it? Lucifer himself coming through to give us another slap on the ass. No, he cannot wander so far, not as far as us. Not as far as us. And Omen took measures to stop him from finding us. Yeah, it's close enough. She gives Omen a look, but he purposely ignores her. My eyes are on the hand he's still using to rub the back of his neck. I assumed it was nerve's habit, but now that I'm paying attention, I can see something that looks like it might be a scarf snaking out from under his collar. It's difficult to spot, though, and as if he's thinking the same thing, Omen yanks his collar up to hide it. Elaine presses close to his side, their shoulders touching. Their tails intertwine briefly, almost a hand-squeeze gesture of its own before she leans away again and looks at me. We apologize for the danger we may have brought to this place. It isn't me you should be apologizing apologizing to, I think. Omen gives me a pained look but inclines his head.
You're right. I didn't know the boundaries would be so badly affected by my crossing. By all means, destroying the brand, the markings that allow my father to seek me out should have been enough. I also hoped the boundaries would heal on their own, as they do. Likely they are, but too slowly. Perhaps.
He trails off, looking at something behind my shoulder. I turn to follow his eyes. Amaros Woodridge stares at us from where he's half peeking from the front door. His eyes widen like a cornered rabbit when he realizes we've noticed, but before I can even open my mouth to reassure him, Elaine makes a gleeful little noise and runs to Aramos. Owen snorts, the sound almost a laugh. I was almost afraid you didn't like him. He kept the news of Elaine's arrival from me. That should be enough for me to resent him. He says that, but his eyes are soft as we look on. Elaine is holding Aramos' hands now, who looks remarkably less afraid, and whatever they're talking about is too low for me to hear, but his smile is bright. I see her smile too, and her tail curls affectionately around his waist. They make their way back over to us, Amaros eyeing me warily. I nod at Aramos when he glances at me again. The way he seems to jump a little before smiling back is almost amusing. Have you come to fetch me or Elaine? Neither, actually. I've come to tell you that Aurora will be here soon. I wanted to. He trails off uncertainly. Probably not sure about betraying his sister's view on things yet. I'm not sure how much of that I can sympathize with, but after the mass last night, I'm nothing if not glad I don't have to see that woman again just yet. I have a feeling she would have something galling to say about all this. This that I should also make a report on. I scratch my head, thinking about exactly what will go in the mission report for this entire mess. Just considering it's also causing me a soul deep pain. I need to go find Alcar anyway. Oh, that would be a good idea. I hope that I'll see you later, Gray. I'm sure you will. He hums in agreement, reaching for me as though he wants to put his hand on my shoulder, but he seems to think better of it at the last moment and turns it into an awkward way before walking away. Oh. I linger for a moment longer, watching Aramos and Elaine's conversation. Aramos is smiling at something she said, and the last thing I see as I turn away from them is Elaine kissing his cheek. Oh, they're cute. The streets are dead empty when I leave. It's eerie almost, this sudden stillness. As though the town itself is distinctly aware of the wrongness it's experiencing, withdrawing into itself. I wonder, truly, how much the people know, how much they're willing to know. From what Aurora said, it hasn't always been this way for Minaris, but I find it hard to imagine this before. It must have been years ago, according to what she said at August. But all Omen and Elaine have done is confirm that there is an increase in supernatural activity, not what the enforcers have done to combat it. Nor did their affirmation lend anything to the ease of start that one again. Nor did their affirmation lend anything to ease the growing dread in me. The one that's been sitting like a poison in the back of my mind since I first started snooping in August's office for Aya's records just a few weeks ago. I'm a general, but I'm still just another hunter in the end. The enforcers, the allies, the support network at my back, all account for much of my success and strength. It dictates how I am to move, act, think. And now what, if I can't even trust it to hold my weight? That I don't know the full truth is nothing new. That I'm only ever told enough to commit myself to the contract at hand is nothing new. But those deliberate acts of withholding information have always been passed off as an attempt to protect hunters, and for the most part that's been true. Not this time, though. The sound of a bird taking flight snaps me out of my thoughts. I shake my head, blink, and look up to the sparse, twisting branches of the forest. Somehow, my feet have taken me here, taken me on a path I didn't even know I could remember so well, actually. And when I look down at the ground, I see the rock which Alcar hides his cave. He hasn't bothered to keep the trapdoor concealed. I realize I walk around it. There the entrance is, inviting to all. Thinking about the half-lichen, I doubt that's true, but hesitantly, I kneel by it and knock. A long moment passes with no response. Just as I was beginning to feel silly, it's daylight, he's probably in town. It swings up so fast it nearly hits me in the face. Alcar tilts his head, ears perked up. His expression slowly morphs into a grin, if a tired one. You got a warrant? That's not what guests bring with them on house visits, Alcar. Depends. I shift, intending to sit, honestly. I'm not sure if he's going to let me into his house. The moment I start to, however, Alcar retreats back into his cave with a beckon. He's already gone, and if I don't follow, the trapdoor is going to fall on my knees, so I hastily follow him down. The latch is a little difficult to work out, but after a moment I manage to fasten it the way I think it's supposed to be fastened. By the time I get into the cave properly, which looks the same with just a bunch of messy blankets and pillows thrown on one of the benches, proof that he really did just wake up, Alker's already across the room. I watch him throw firewood onto a small stove and put a kettle on to boil. It's cute. What brings you here, mighty hunter? Instincts. Alker throws me a smirk. He opens an iron chest next to the stove and pulls out a drawer of something dried and joins me on the cushions. Prying the lid open, he offers me the treat. Is this dog chow? If you're a dog, everything you eat is dog chow. So, are you a dog? No, mate, it's fucking candied fruits. I snort, but take a piece. So, I'm not under arrest? Nothing has exploded in the town that I know of. You cut your feelings on something? No, Then I realize I don't really know what the hell I've come from. It is then I realize I don't know what the hell I've come from for, really. Comfort? Going to Alker for comfort? Not likely. Then now that I'm here, there is something I need to tell him. The hunter that attacked you, the hunter you attacked. Well, the one whose attack you were in prison for, I should say. Alker's wolf ear immediately flattened to his head. I see his jaw clench, but he looks at me straight, red eyes sharp. Yeah? His name is Zazel. We found signs of him in the dungeons. Alker slowly inhales sharply, then sighs, the relief evident in the drop of his shoulders, but then he raises his eyebrows.
Wait, in the dungeons? The dungeons where they kept me? What did he do?
We don't know, but he was there. And I'm sure he was at the very least alive when you were taken in. Then why did they? I don't know. Alker snorts, and this time the sound is bitter. He gets to his feet and begins to pace, tightening the bandages around his hands. I can feel his upset, the intensity of it, and under all of that brewing resentment. I can't blame him. You keep using past tenses. What happened to this Zazel bloke? I don't know either, which is the problem. Alker pauses and looks at me in disbelief. After a moment, however, he sighs and comes back to sit down again. Guess that's why you're here. Tell you, yes.
Your employers sure like to keep shit hush-hush. Figured as much. But thanks for telling me. It's been sitting like a fucking gravestone on my mind since... Well, now I feel pretty fucking bummed out, actually. I can't believe they put me through that shit for something that never even happened.
I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened. They had no right.
They don't need rights. They only needed a reason and the upper hand.
What's wrong is wrong. The bitter pessimism in Alker's words sting, but I shake my head. There's right and there's wrong. They owe you an apology. We owe you an apology. Since it seems we can't find a fucking explanation for anything that's happened. Why are you sorry for something you can't control? Because I'm a hunter. Just because. Alker laughs short and sharp, but he clasps me on the shoulder. And what are you going to do about all this, Gray? I'll find the truth. That's all I can do, isn't it? No, it's what I must do, now that we've come this far. Then that's all I ask, too. His hand closes around my wrist. I raise my eyes from the floor to look at him, and the sheer intensity with which he stares back at me, the sheer sincerity in his eyes almost carries the force of a blow. His expression is very soft, a little smile. It's adorable. Thank you. Got you. We're gonna solve this. I venture deeper into the catacombs, the darkened tunnels becoming somewhat familiar to me now. I hear a quiet laugh, and I smile to myself as the figure appears from the shadows. Hi, Raven. It's cooking good looking. Hello, Raven. May I escort you to Lord Casimir's lair? I mean, not that you have a choice. I'm terribly bored. I begin walking, and Raven falls into step by my side. Though she walks backwards, those crimson eyes not leaving my face even for a second. Why are you bored? Sun's up. Can't do much other than annoy Finn, but now you're here to do that, I assume. More like work, I suppose? She starts again, and it's quickly becoming a familiar sound. He works too much, all of you do. Then she skids to a stop in front of me as we reach Finn's door, her hands raised. Listen, I just want you to know that we have your back. Not that Finn wouldn't already told you that, but it's important for me that you know. The way she looks at me tells me I can believe her. That Raven is loyal to a fault, and I'm lucky to have such allies. Thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. Sweet. Now go do your boring, important people stuff, I guess. I'll try not to interrupt. In a flash, she's gone, absorbed by the darkness. The The door to Finn's room opens with a quiet creak before I can raise my fist and knock, and he greets me with a smile. Afternoon, please come in. I eagerly step inside, the candlelight that flickers in his lavish quarters decidedly more inviting than dank hallways. I hear Raven lurking. She didn't bother you, did she? I shake my head as he moves to lean against his desk. She was fine, if not a little strange. He tilts his head this way and that, feigning tossing around a deep thought in his mind before grinning. Strange is her specialty. We should discuss Fiero, discuss what Piper and I found down there. His expression neutralizes, his posture becoming tense. Yes, we should. I have some concerns, as I'm sure you do. What could they want with his blood, Finn? I'm no expert, but if I'm not mistaken, vampire blood can be harmful to anything that isn't of your kind. He stares off into the distance for a moment, the look is pensive as if he's considering his next words very carefully.
What do you know of your initiation? Of what they put you through when you're chosen?
I open my mouth to respond, but I find myself having nothing to say. I remember little about what happened when I was just a child, back when I first arrived at the academy. I remember waking up and feeling different, feeling strong. I frowned, frustrated. I can't recall such a pivotal moment in my life, the moment that quite literally made me who I am. I can feel him watching me carefully, and when I meet his gaze, his eyes are sad.
I know little of what they did to make you the way you are, but I've been around long enough to hear rumors. Nothing about what's happening here adds up. Of that much I'm sure. The only person who has answers is Harry, but we can't even trust the man who swore to lead and protect you.
If they're taking Fiero's blood, it's not with good intention. Vampire blood can be incredibly dangerous if used with malicious intent. We need to get him out of there. I search my brain for ideas, solutions, anything. The silence we stand in is heavy with our contemplation, and something hits me. When I first encountered the creature, it almost felt like I'd been thralled. As if it had compelled you to just freeze. It manipulated you. Manipulated. Then something clicks. Fiero's an empath, right? He can feel both emotion and manipulate it. Yes, and he's incredibly powerful. Levi would have looked at him twice if he was indifferent. There are other vampires that have such abilities. Even I can influence people's thoughts, but not to the extent that he can. I think about the implication of that kind of power falling into the wrong hands, how they leave me feeling leaden in place. Can these abilities be transferred, say, through consuming his blood? I can't say I've ever heard of such a thing being done, but it's certainly not impossible. That creature, if it had been given his blood, why? What could that possibly achieve? I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. Already they're heavy in my mind of what this might mean. Something new, something powerful. The rumors you've heard about the initiation. Can you tell me? He grips the edge of his desk, the wood creaking beneath his fingertips.
There are many things about the agency's practices that I've heard over the centuries. None of them are particularly kind, but most sound too far-fetched to be plausible. My personal favorite is that hunters grow on trees. Were you grown on a tree?
I laugh, rolling my eyes. Point taken, not all of them are exactly sane rumors, right? No, but with everything that's been going on here lately, stranger things have happened. I process everything as best as I can on such little sleep, yet again feeling out of my depth, but somehow closer to the truth. Our priority is getting Fiero out of there, but we also have other concerns to attend to. I can have the clan work on an extraction plan, now we know exactly where he is. Leave that to us, at least it's one less thing for you to worry about, right? Though, I could use your help enlisting Merriman to assist. We could do with someone on your side. Consider it done. You let me know if you need me to, though. He nods, reaching for the door to open it for me. Of course, now. Stay safe, won't you? I will. Just need to see Ezra about our little demon friends. Well, have fun with that, Gray, and good luck. Bye, bestie. The shop is busy when I arrive, but Ezra does an excellent job of remaining professional when he spots me. I linger in the corner when he rings up his final customers, surveying the volumes upon volumes of magical literature he has on display. Hi, Coco! The sleepy white cat from before is curled up on the countertop, and she lazily raises her head when I approach as the bell signals that the final customer has left. Her eyes glow a vivid aquamarine, and she's certainly unlike any feline I've seen before. Her name is Coco. He scratches her chin, and she purrs her thanks before gracefully jumping down, heading for the back room with a twist of her tail. She's got a bit of an attitude problem. I think I've spoiled her a little too much. God, don't we all? I have a very spoiled cat as well, sitting beside me. How long have you had her? His mouth twists to the side when he thinks. She followed me home one night when I was a child, maybe 10, 11 years ago. She's not exactly a normal cat, but I've never really bothered to find out what she might be or where she's from. She's just Coco. We'll value her privacy.
What can I do for you? Is it about the tall, blonde, utterly terrifying woman you sent my way last night?
Sorry, bestie. I grimace, taking a deep breath. My mind is once again overflowing with revelations, new information I've barely had time to process. Sorry about that, but no. I had a chat with our demon friends. I study his expression carefully, but I see nothing to indicate that he has any idea what I'm about to say. And how adept of you are closing hell portals? What? I almost can't help but laugh at the way his eyes widen. Then a flicker of realization, his shoulders sinking under the weight of it.
No, I can't believe I didn't think to check. I've been so caught up with everything else that I just... Fuck.
Oh, it's okay. Literally none of us knew this happened. Don't blame yourself. I believe in you. Yes, it's okay. He's obviously distressed that such a thing could fly under his radar, and I gather that Ezra has quickly put the puzzle pieces together. Ezra is stupid. He knows what this means, what the tear between realms has brought upon this town. We can and will fix this. There must be a spell, a ritual. He clears his throat, snapping himself from his daze.
Yes, I mean, there will be, not that I'm familiar. It will require a great deal of research, and I doubt I'll be able to do that alone.
Luckily, we got another very good witch as my enforcer, August. He smiles.
August is very powerful, as I'm sure you can already tell. So, with their help, hopefully it's something we can achieve.
I don't doubt either of you for a second. I look at him as he processes all of this, his fingers visibly twitching at his side, eyes flicking to the endless rows of books that line his walls. Ezra, I know you can do this. Please don't worry. He offers me a smile, but it's a sorry thing, timid almost.
I'm glad that you have some faith in me, at least. I'm just so angry with myself.
Oh,
I was the first person Omen found when he arrived. I should have known.
I tended to his wounds, saw the markings. I should have checked. Markings? I think back to the odd way that Owen rubbed his neck. Demons from other realms often have a sigil or rune that grants them access to their home, so it makes sense for him to have one, I suppose. But healed, what extent did Omen go to? You should ask Omen. It isn't my place. Of course, but I think you can give yourself a pass on this one. It isn't exactly common to have a Prince of Hell stumble into your shop, is it? Well, maybe in Lunar's. It takes a moment, but a small smile crosses his lips.
I appreciate the faith you show in me. I'll try my best. Anything to keep the town safe.
You got this. Now, do you want to tell August, or shall I? The very loud burst of laughter tells me I might be the one tasked with such a pleasant conversation. Excellent. Piper opens the door with a smile as I advance to the next stop on my tour. Afternoon. Gonna stand there or what? I roll my eyes, kicking off my boots as I enter. We take a seat upon the sofa, Piper tucking her feet beneath her, relaxing in her surroundings. I had an eventful evening. She sits a little straighter, eyebrow quirked in interest. Oh yeah? Yes, with your favorite cultist, actually. The noise she makes is interesting. Ugh, her. How awful for you. My sympathies. Rather you than me, though, I suppose. What gives? Oh, you know, the usual. Just her making friends with the thing terrorizing us. Normal cultist stuff. I wish I could say I'm surprised. Was it at least a productive conversation? Yes, it helped, which is better than nothing, right? Better than nothing. I take a deep breath, considering my next words carefully. We should talk about Aya, about what we found down there. Her shoulders slump, and she averts my gaze, her eyes sad. Yes, I haven't stopped thinking about all of it. Fiero, Aya, everything.
How can we work for people who do that? Who forge records, who imprison their own for nothing?
Aya is innocent. That much I know. And Azazel, he's down there because he supposedly got attacked? It continues to make no fucking sense. I agree with her, but we have little time for frustrations. We have to begin acting now. The clan are preparing to get Firo out of the dungeons. We can't leave him in there, not now that we know what they're doing. Finn was wondering if you mind assisting them? Of course I will. Anything to stick it to those asshole enforcers. Yeah, we're talking about the blood. I feel a little stupid for having such an idea, but after what Finn told me about the blood, I can't get it off my mind. When I encountered the creature, it was almost like it enthralled me, like it sapped away all of my free will. Piper frowned, shifting a little closer, waiting for me to continue. What if they're taking Firo's blood to give it to this creature? To make it stronger, better? She takes a while to respond.
If they are, why? Why would they need to mess around with the things we're supposed to be killing? Our purpose is to rid the planet of those things, not to make them stronger.
She's right. It makes no sense. We need to figure out their endgame and fast. I paused, watching her carefully. She looked so tired. How are you doing after all of this? She huffs a quiet little laugh, shrugging. I don't really know.
Before all of this, I was just angry. Angry that I got punished for caring too much, which isn't something I ever really did before. Now I just feel numb.
It's going to be okay, Piper. It has to be. Right. How could it possibly get any fucking worse? I grimace and Piper laughs. Don't say that. Now we're really fucked. With a groan, I reluctantly tear myself from the comfort of her sofa. The mere thought of dragging myself across the street to the wolf makes me want to weep, but I really should check in with August. I need to go and visit our dear enforcer. Have fun with that, I suppose. She crinkles her nose in disgust, and I can't help but laugh at the expression. Thanks a bunch. I head for the door, turning to look at her one last time when she yells, "Wouldn't want to be ya!" In the aftermath of what we learned, August and Ezra were quick to action, gathering supplies and the instruments required to perform the spell. That was the first day. Then time stretched on. 1 day, 2 days, 4, week. Knowing that everything was leading up to this moment, and that it might not even work, was stressful to say the least. What if they couldn't close it? What if the creature is still that strong without this unseen force feeding it? Those worries lingered, but I found ways to distract myself. I hunted nightly, I spent time training with Piper, studying with August. Then a knock on my door one night. The news I had been waiting for. I step outside just in time to watch the sunset over the horizon. The sky darkens and the clouds are tipped with orange, then purple, until all that hangs over me is endless black. Somehow, I feel lighter than ever as I head for the forest, a funny kind of hope settling in my gut. Ezra and August are strong alone, but together, I think back to that moment in Ezra's shop, the reconciliation between those two, the shift in how they hold themselves, a weight finally released. Together, I have no doubt they're unstoppable. There's only one way to find out. Omen and Elaine had entered a realm right at the edge of town, just as the cobblestones fade into dirt. The trees are denser here, everything a little less ominous. I find Ezra and August exactly where they said they would be, both of them looking a little pensive. Gray, right on time. I know you don't suffer tardiness. Very good. Now, shall we just get on with it, I suppose? Ezra has already laid out supplies, a neat little pile of strange things you could only ever find in a magic shop. There's also a symbol drawn on the forest floor that looks startlingly similar to a pentagram with a few minor changes. Ezra catches me looking and offers me a shrug to say of course it's closing a portal to one of the many hells would require such a thing. I mean, that tracks. They all know what they're doing. They're the magic people. Just another day in Lunaris. Let's just get this over with. He pulls a vial from his belt, the liquid dark and viscous. From my experience, I recognize it as demon blood. Omen gave it willingly. I didn't stab him or anything. I would hope not. I would hope not, Ezra. I think we know that, Ezra. Just checking. I just imagine Ezra with a dagger. It's like chasing after Omen. Oh my god. He would never. He pours the blood upon the ground at their feet, the faintest shimmer shining in the grass where it makes contact. They join hands and begin chanting. Yeah. Magic stuff. From the fire of earth to the fire of hell. So, appreciation time for how good they look in their magic. Like, the way it, like, spirals across August here. This little third eye, I love it. And then, oh, he looks so pretty with the green. I love this, the detail under the eye and the way it, like, fills up around his hand. They look after, these sprites are so stunning. The shimmer grows in luminosity. It pulses brighter still until it's almost blinding. I step back, watching as their grip on one another tightens, their eyes aglow like shaking. Ezra almost falters, but August holds him steady, gives him strength. We call to he who rules this realm. Close this gate. The ground beneath our feet rumbles. It stutters and shakes from their incantation, a vibration I feel deep in my bones. Close this gate. Then, stillness, silence. Slowly, they release one another, exchanging appraising glances at their current state. There's some haggard breathing, but they're apparently fine. They turn their attention back to the tear, or former tear. Is it done? Did it work? Perhaps the question was too soon, as it hums up before I can stop it, and it echoes loudly. Yet, as if seeing that hazy portal wink out with anything to go by, I damn well better ask.
I think it did. The energy still lingers, but I no longer feel anything pulling at me. Not like I did when we first arrived.
The only way to know for sure is to get Omen or Elaine to check for us.
Ezra is interrupted by a chorus of yelling and terrible screaming. As if all at once the air is kicked from our lungs and whatever brief moment of relief we had is extinguished at the sound.
It's coming from town. We need to...
I'll clean up here. Go, I've got this.
We both look at him, hesitant, but time is of the essence, and we know we have no choice. Stay safe. Head straight home as soon as you're done. You've exhausted yourself enough for one evening. I will. Lunaris is in chaos. There's blood on the streets. Of its owner, I'm not entirely sure, but I know exactly what it is the second I see Piper rushing towards us. Her dagger is drawn. Her aura thrums with adrenaline and bleeds into mine at her approach.
Report.
It's that thing I saw with my own eyes. Ugly motherfucker, isn't it? Where is it now?
It was heading straight for headquarters. Had this mad look, like it couldn't see anything else. The witches scared it off and distracted it. It scurried into the forest, but I couldn't catch it.
Good. No one should face it alone. Gray's right. We can't risk losing anyone else. Especially not you two. No, we have to end this. Go time. I look around and see the fear etched across everyone's faces. A creature hasn't made this far into town in years, not a hostile one anyway. They must be terrified. We have to do something to show them that we have this under control, no matter the circumstance. We need to go and find it and kill it. Sorry, a car alarm is going off outside. Okay, it stopped. Hopefully no robberies were happening. This ends now. Damn right we do.
I'll stay here. They're afraid. This is their nightmare. I can at least try to make sure they feel safe.
I look off into the distance. The forest is calling to me. The tips of my fingers tingle, every nerve ending set alight as my adrenaline spikes. Well, I'm the thing that monsters have nightmares about. So let's finish this. We head towards forest, leaving the town in chaos behind us. I stop dead in my tracks as the houses fade out. Something tells me to pause, to think. August, are you sure you... I pause and taking a breath. You don't need to put yourself in danger for me.
Remember who you're talking to, Hunter. I'm your superior. You don't tell me what I should and shouldn't do.
We finish this together, understand? I put my mouth to protest, but a sorrowful groan echoes from somewhere in the forest. Let's move. I'm glad they're here. I'm glad we don't have to fight this thing alone. They're very powerful. We advance, moving as fast as our feet can carry us towards the source of the noise. We skid to a stop in a clearing that's quite clearly been ravaged by the creature. Trees splintered, scratched, and the ground is charred. Then it lumbers into view. Too close to the town for comfort, too alert, and entirely too focused on me. Only me. August spares it a glance and then turns to me.
I've got your back, General. Give it hell. I'll keep it distracted. Just don't get drawn in.
I nod and then watch in awe as August lights up. Literally. And in their little battle outfit, it's gorgeous. Their hair rises as if on a breeze, suspended around them, their eyes swallowed by the brightest, most vivid violet. The air crackles, electricity only felt in the most violent of storms, thick scent of ozone permeating my senses. It's overwhelming and yet at the same time enchanting. To any other, it might appear ominous, imposing, and yet August wears it so naturally. The way their magic lives and breathes unshackled in this state. They're already a powerful presence in how they carry themselves, but to see them like this, it's utterly captivating. Their palms are cast alight, a mark appearing in the center of their forehead. Then I propel myself forward, unafraid, kicking up dirt. I throw back my fist, landing the first hit with a satisfying smack. The impact reverberates through my knuckles, and I reach for my weapon as the creature gathers itself. August and I fall into an easy routine as if we've been doing this together forever. They cover me, keeping distracted with a flurry of spells, and I lay into it with every ounce of unbidden power that surges through my body. We violently clash, nothing but a flurry of frenzied movement and strikes. I swing hard at the beast, erring to stick to my typical strategy attack, not letting the furious tempo of this battle overtake my senses. However, there's a method to its madness, and its poise and posture remain. Something more than brute strength keeping it steady. When finally one of the attacks connects, the creature lets out a horrific scream, something that could bloody my ears and nearly send me to my knees. I dial back to catch myself, vision blurring. August calls out to me, coaxes me back to the fight as to keep it locked in place, an indecipherable display of power as lightning strikes at its feet. It's strong, stronger than we anticipated. But more than that, despite its haggard appearance, it fights like I do. Calculated, precise, calm in a way no creature could be or ever has been. It fights like a hunter. I bring my hand to my face as August chants an incantation in a foreign tongue, seeing crimson leaking between my fingers, staining my skin. They call to me again, frustration marring the words as they struggle to hold it for much longer. I find myself frozen, my breathing heavy, but everything has been laid out before me, and I curse my stupidity for not seeing it sooner. As if the creature has read my thoughts, as if it knows that I figured it out, it gives something of a smile with that grotesque maw. It lunges, swatting August aside with a startling display of strength, like a mere afterthought, and heads for me, transfixed. I watch as they crumple against the trunk of a tree already felled by the creature's hand, their magic flickering and fading. Its eyes are constant on my form, long, heavy strides gaining quick momentum in my direction. Ah! I cannot move, I cannot think, it's all a haze now. The only coherent thought I have is, if I'm gonna die here, all I can hope is that August makes it out. It draws back, its gnarled arm, and I brace for impact. It's too soon for me to steel myself against the assault, and I feel my body shocked with pain. They look so good. Oh my god. Somehow I hear a whisper, something gentle and harmonious, yet not quite of this world. I turn my head to see August, their lips moving at a frantic pace, the mark on their forehead fixing me to the spot with a radiant gaze. They look otherworldly, blinding, every inch of their body screaming power. They're commanding the very elements, everything around them casts a glow as bright as the moon that hangs in the sky above us, brighter. The display distracts it just as I am, like a moth to a deadly flame, and the creature turns to face August with a sorrowful groan, a move that it will surely regret. At that moment, there's clarity in me, my body finally recalling every ounce of training I've ever had through my life. The instinct to survive saturating every nerve, I reach for my weapon despite the numbness in my fingers. I feel stronger, movements most certain, and I see August draw back and away from its advancing blow. I strike with everything I have. I drive my weapon into the back of its neck with a guttural scream. It swats me blindly like a wild animal, trying to shake me off. It stumbles feverishly in random directions and considerably more sluggish than before. Again, it attempts to remove the thing that will help it meet its maker, but I relent. I hold on, plunging in deeper until I can hear the sickening crack of bone. The creature's voice is smaller now, shaking and shaking as the life form from it finally torn asunder. It halts in its movements until it finally falls to its knees and pounds the dusty earth. I wait and I wait until I'm certain it is no longer. Finally, there's a resounding silence and I catch my breath. Try to, anyway. Then I feel August's hands upon me, tugging me to stand. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I steady myself, gripping their arms, trying to shake myself back to reality. They quirk a brow at me, lips twisting in a dissatisfied pout.
I asked you a question, Hunter.
I'm fine, General. Good. Excellent job, General. I let their magic rest, and the hum I felt in the power settles back into something calmer, returning to the normal state. Thank you, August. That was impressive. As were you. Oh, that's not good. Right?
No, don't you dare!
It's all over. Cray. Then everything goes black. Oh shit. Alright, and that is the end of chapter
Hunter?
6. Oh. No, we're not there yet, Harry. We're gonna save here. And we will return to back to it some other time. I don't know when. But thank you very much for watching and joining me. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing through, and yeah, I'll be very excited to continue this playthrough. Again, this is one of my favorite games, possibly of all time. I love it so much. And yeah, definitely if you're watching this and you haven't played it for yourself, I absolutely recommend that you do so. It's on itch.io and Steam. And yeah, it's been really fun doing all of these. I have lots of plans to do lots of different games and stuff, but yeah, I'm really happy with having this as like a starting board, just because it's something I'm so familiar with, and that music's very intense. Very dramatic send-off here and a bit of a cliffhanger. But yeah, next time, whatever that is, we will pick up with chapters 7 and 8, and things just get more and more dramatic from here. And then yeah, the game ends at chapter 10, and yeah, I think we'll end it off there. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you some other time. But yes, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah. All right, bye.